All right, welcome to another OkieTradez study session. First thing I want to look at is some action from last week, believe it or not. I know I like to stay in the present, but some themes aren't like multiple setups per day, but instead one great setup per day. Sometimes you'll get multiple. I think we will once ever the theme itself is starting to near its peak. You'll get a bunch of them per day. That kind of tells you, all right, you really need to size up now. And once ever you have that first big loss, that's when you start to really size down. You know what I mean? Push it until it stops working. So on something like this is my favorite setup because you get a target. If we look at it right here, right? So what is this setup? I'll first frame it like this. It's a low float and it's a stock that's trading insane volume on the day compared to any other time. And it also made a big move to start the day. So we've got a low float check, trading big volume, check, made a huge move at the open, check. Where did it go? Let's just say 250 to 4. So a buck 50. And I mean, if we want to take it from the low here, yeah. I mean, we'll just say 250 because that's kind of like the trigger spot. And then it went to a high of 4. So we'll say $1.50. That's what our target would be. Now, what do we want to see? We want to see something I would consider an all-day wedge or an all-day trend that leads to a wedge. So it's not exactly science, it's more of an art, but just understand the fact that you need a wedge and you need an all-day trend. Doesn't have to be an all-day wedge. What do I mean by that? In this case, this is an all-day wedge. And that's your entry right there. Now, from here, we want $1.50, right? So our entry is 350, we'll say. So 350, 455 is the target, right? So that's how I would play that. Now, obviously, this one took off a lot higher, but you'll see that most of the time, um, these what are basically like the second leg. I would consider this the second leg. This is the first run, the first leg. Then it gears up and makes a second leg. And this one went way higher. Usually the second leg is going to be maybe too high of day, but when we get into this special market, in which I'm breaking it down for you right now, is that the second leg can equal the first one. And that's really the special. Other than that, when we look at the risk to reward on this setup, it gives you something stupid like 50 to 1. And I'm not lying about that. So whenever you do take this trade, don't be so scared that you think, oh man, I took a loss. This one didn't work. Well, you might have to take a loser or two, but guess what? If you hit on just one, it would so if you get 50 to 1 risk reward, you would have to lose 50 trades in a row of the same size just to be break even. So let's look at the risk reward on this. We know to look for one, an all day trend, and two, notice this little mini wedge right here. See it? Imagine that this mini wedge didn't perfectly set up right here and it was just like an instant break right here from the low. We wouldn't buy that. We would then wait for a wedge right here, a perfect one. See what I'm saying? So we know how high it can go, $1.50. We get an all-day trend, and this one combined with the perfect mini wedge. Now we look for $1.50. And what was the mini wedge entry right here when we zoom in? I would say right here, the higher high off the higher low. So there's a low, higher low, first higher high. So that is 358. risking the last dip, the higher low, of 351. So 6 cents to get $1.50. What is the risk reward on that? 1.5 divided by 0.06. 25 to 1. So on this trade in particular, well, now I also want you to notice how you can get 50 to 1 risk reward. Now there's going to be, this trade is the most clearest entry, and 25 to 1 risk reward is great. But there's also this first 1 minute candle to make a new high off the higher low that's close enough to that higher high that you think is going to break it. So the entry right here could technically be 356, risking 351. So 4 cents risk. 1.5 divided by 0.04. 37 to 1 risk reward. And obviously it goes way higher. But once it gets up to 5, your target right there, you sell it. I mean, that's just the end of the story right there. 25 to 1. So let's just say you wanted to risk $25, right? So we know you got 25 to 1. So 25 times 25, you made $600 off of 25 risk. Let's just say you wanted to risk 100, right? Times 25, 2,500 bucks. Now there's people down here that literally will risk $1,000, right? 1,000 times 25, and they just made 25 grand. You see what I'm saying? 37,000. Just depends. And you can take the size because it's doing 10,000, 18,000, 20,000 per 1 minute candle and trading insane volume. And then look, it's the volume only increases. So you could easily ditch 100,000 shares into that 500,000, 700,000 candle at your target. You know what I mean? All right. So we're not going to just rest on one stock, right? This stock does what? It runs. I mean, I don't like to just go from the low. Like, I like to see what's the first trigger that I think is comfortable. So, like 48 cents, right, to $1.05, or what is this high? $1.10. We'll say that. 48 to $1.10 is what? 70 cents. So, look, we get this all day trend break right here, right? And we're waiting for a wedge. So we're not buying here, right? We're just waiting for a wedge. We get another little trend break right there, right? And then what do we see? Beautiful wedge, mini wedge right here. And what is the entry on this bad boy? 74 cents, risking 71 cents. So 3 cents risk to get 70 cents target, right? 75 plus 70 equals $1.45. Where did it go? $1.44 on the money. So, what is that? All right, so we'll go 0.7 divided by 0.03. 23 to 1 risk reward. Now, let's just say you bought the first 1 minute candle within the higher low, right? Which would have been 73, risking again 71. So 2 cents, right? To make 70 cents. So 0.7 divided by 0.02, 35 to 1. So at best, we're looking at 35 to 1 right now. But the ideal is easy 25 to 1 risk reward. But again, even if we got a bad fill and we bought it right here, right? Well, our stop is still down here and our target is still up here because we're just looking for what this stock did. I mean, we could, you know, and notice how you could say you would look from the low a day here, but in my opinion, wait for the trigger. Why? Notice 70 cents, 70 cents, basically on the nose. So that's just something I've noticed over the years. Same day, Low float stock, right? First trigger, 520, makes a move to 790. So basically like $2.50, right? All day trend. Now we're just looking for a wedge, right? And Bryce talked about how this was a fake out. I totally agree. So you buy right here, right? And then when it goes sideways at your entry and starts to collapse, you have to cut right there. But what happens? Instantly holds and resets up, and you have to hop back in right there. And what did this one go? 520 to 780. So 250, right? So if we got in at 660, we want 250. We'll just say $9 a share. Where does it top out at? $9 a share. Again, low float, high volume, all day trend break with a mini wedge. Now the mini wedge, I wouldn't blame you if you took it right here and you lost. I really would not blame you. Okay? And I wouldn't blame you if you cut here and then missed this one. Wouldn't blame you. It's not always super easy. But notice the volume wedge. Do we have volume wedges? Oh yes. I need to refresh everybody's memory on these. Notice where it leads you to the best entry. Right here. Notice that. Again, do we have a volume wedge here? Oh, it's a thing, right? Look where it leads you to. The best entry. AFMD. So it's going to lead you to right here. The volume wash is telling you that you shouldn't be entering right here. Because look, it comes up and touches but doesn't break. And look how far away the tip is from where you're having to buy it right here. Versus down here, look how tight it is to the tip. And then when it does break, you get the volume burst. Now, again, after we get a good solid spike, I'm probably definitely going to cut break even right here after it starts to pull under my entry. But again, slips, holds the original stop, resets up a mini wedge at the trend, all day trend level, right? And then takes off exactly $2.50 per share, just like our target from earlier in the day. Could it happen again today? Yes, it can. So, MLGO, right? Trigger, $5, runs to 860. So, that's a total of what? 350 per share, right? So, all day trend, we don't buy there. But then guess what happens? We get a nice little wedge right here. Yep. And this is the most prime optimal entry, but that's okay. We can still take it right here. Now our risk reward is going to be cut down a little bit, right? So if we buy 8 and we're having to risk 730, 70 cents. But again, we're looking for 350 a share, right? So 8, 9, 10, 11.50, and it even halts up over your target and hits 13. So you would have definitely got, I would say, at least 12.50 of a sale. But let's just say you got 13. So $4 a share, and you're having to risk 70 cents. That's not 20 to 1 risk reward, but still worked though the first try. So what is this? 4 divided by 70, roughly 6 to 1. Yeah, not ideal. I mean, I guess if you did, no, I can't justify this. And then again, we get another one, right? So this time what? It goes from here, what, 8 to 13. So $4 a share. All day trend. Mini wedge. So buying it at 10.20, risking 9.85. So 35 cents. and you get your $4 a share, right? 10 to actually go straight up to 14.50. So you really get, you'd probably still sell it at 14. So what is that? What did I say? 10, 9.85. So 35 cents, $4 divided by 35. 11 to 1. Okay, I see what happened here. So we get the 11.5, and then earlier we get the 6 to 1. So that equals like you get two trades of that equals almost 20 to 1 risk reward. I see what happens here. Actually kind of resets up and you get another little entry right there, don't you? So I mean, maybe you do get to 25 to 1 if you just get you catch this one and then you catch it here, add here. There you go. Okay. So I think we're definitely on to something here. I'm not going to admit that this was easy. Like, it's not going to be easy. You're just going to have to adapt. And the thing that does make it easy is you see a stock make a move. It's a low float, high volume, holds up all day. There you go. So, I mean, this was basically the only one other than Sober today. And we knew Sober wasn't going to do it. Why? Because Sober is a penny stock. We haven't really seen a penny stock do it. Well, I guess ALBT was a penny stock, wasn't it? Yeah, but look at what ALBT did. It went from 30 to a buck. Like, um, Sober today was all in pre-market, and then it set up on a mini wedge. It never had an all-day trend pullback and then a wedge. So don't confuse the two. We need a stock low flow, high volume, make a huge move in the morning, pull back, so an all-day trend, and then we get like a mini wedge at the trend break somewhere around that level, and we're looking for the target of the first part of the day's move. All right, y'all. Hope we see something like this set up tomorrow. And again, any questions, just hit me up in Small Cap Rockets chat. All right, take it easy.